Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo, and I made something using this fabric, and today I want to make a piece of jewelry to go with it. So I went through my pink and green beads, and this is the combination I am coming up with. These right here are just glass crystals. Aren't they pretty? I love the way they shine, and I believe they're about a 6 millimeter. And then I have these little beads, which are probably a 4 millimeter. They look like rose quartz, but they are just a pink glass bead. And this is going to be a very simple bracelet. And I am going to use a lobster claw clasp, and I am going to show you how I finish my pieces without using crimp beads. So these are crimp beads. They're just little tiny beads that you use to finish off a piece. And this is the tool you use. And I'll be honest with you, I do not like to use crimp beads. I don't like to mess with them, and I don't even like the way they look. To me, they don't look finished. They don't make the piece look finished. Instead, I like to use these things right here. And you can get them that look like this, and you can get them that look like this. Today I'm going to use these that are closed in. I'm going to use the hook ones. And I need 2 of them. And a lot of you, I know, do not like these. I have heard people say that they don't think they're professional looking. Well, let me just say this. If they're done properly, they do look very professional. And I call them clamshell bead caps, or they may be called clamshell bead tips. I've been using these for a very long time. When I got back into making jewelry after I had my 3rd child, I think it was, my sister, she had gotten into making jewelry, and she said, oh, you should try that, make a jewelry. And I did, and she showed me a few little tricks. One of them was to use these. Today they call them crimp bead covers, because they do cover the crimp beads, but you can skip that step. You do not need to use a crimp bead. It's basically use the crimp bead and then you use this, and it's just an extra step. Here is what they look like finished. It just looks like a bead. And basically what you're doing is you take your beading wire and you tie a couple of knots, put it inside there, close it up, add your chain or your clasp or whatever you need, and you're good to go. And I have a lot of jewelry that I have made over the years that use these clamshell thingamajigs, whatever you want to call them. And my pieces have held up very well. All right, so let's make something. In addition to my beads, I've got 2 jump rings. I'm just going to put them in there. A lobster claw clasp. I made sure it was working. Sometimes when you buy these things, the little clasp mechanism doesn't work. And then 2 of these clamshell thingamajiggies, as I'm going to call them. You also need your beading wire. And what I'm going to be using is also a little controversial. But again, I've been using this type of beading wire for a very long time, over 30 years, probably closer to 40 years. I do have a video all about that, and I'll put a link to it at the end of this video if you want to check out what I say about bomb fishing wire. Now this is 15-pound test. I normally use 20-pound, but today I'm going to use 15, and the particular item that I'm making is not going to have any stress on it at all. It's going to be very light. And anyway, I'll explain a little bit about that when I tell you who it's for. But normally I use 20 pound, and the necklace that I had just showed you Let me get it back off again. I'm wearing it. It is on 20 pound. And see how it's still pliable and bendable and all. It's not stiff. So a lot of people say, well, you can't use fishing wire because it's too stiff, especially 20 pound. Well, it's not. Anyway, let's start beading. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a little seed bead on the end. I like to finish my pieces off with that. So again, just something to make it look a little bit more finished. And then I think I'm going to start with the pink. I was going to start with the green, but I think I'll start with the pink. And I'm just going to go every other bead. All right, so I have about 9 inches of beads on here, and the clasp is going to take about an inch. So let me go ahead and grab everything I need for the clasp. I need the lobster. I need these lobsters and clams. I need a jump ring. I need the other seed bead. And where's my other jump ring? There it is. Okay, let me go ahead and put the other little seed bead on this end so I don't forget it. So I'm going to need a pin of some sort. Just a straight pin. I'm going to need some wire cutters. I'm going to need some type of like flat nose pliers, or you can use bent nose pliers. I'm going to use bent nose pliers. Okay, so you take your little clam here. This is the bottom, and it has a hole. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Oop, wrong way. See how it has a hole at the bottom? We're going to put your beading wire in that hole. Okay, and then I'm going to tie 2 knots. I might tie 3 with this particular wire because like I said before, I usually use 20 pound. This is 15 pound, but I just tie the knots on top of each other. I have a friend of mine that makes jewelry. She actually teaches jewelry classes up at the library, and or not at the library, at the senior center. Anyway, we're very limited on our what we have available to use, and so she uses fishing line also, but she uses 8 pound, which I told her 8 pound is way too thin, but she uses it, and then she'll put like a little dab of glue in there. If you're using 15 or more, you don't need to put glue in there, but if you really, really want to, go for it. I've never had to do that. Okay, so anyway, once you get your knots in there, you're just going to carefully close up your bead cap there, or bead tip, and then you take your wire cutters and you're going to trim. I usually like to put it on there, pull that, and just trim. I probably need to get me some more wire cutters. Those are getting dull, but they're probably 20 years old too. Anyway, I kind of feel around to make sure nothing's poking out. If something's poking out, which I don't feel that it is, I usually take my nail and kind of push it back in there. All right, so I'm going to feed all my beads down. And see, that looks very finished. Now, this side is pretty much the same thing, but there is a little bit of difference. I'm going to cut it off the spool. And I left about that much. How much is this? Let's get a little bit more precise than that much. I've got probably about 5 inches. Not sure I need 5 inches, but I got it if I need it. So basically what we're going to do is, again, you're going to put your clam shell on there like that. And this is where you need your pin. I'm going to tie 2 knots and feed them into the opening here. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you're not getting behind, so it gets hooked up in this, behind this hook. You want to get it inside there. So what I usually like to do is put my needle through the hoop and inside that opening and just pull. And before I tighten it, I want to make sure it's not behind the neck of this or in the front of that. Sometimes that happens. So I just got notification that my phone was full and I had to go and empty out my deleted videos and photos. Anyway, I don't think I missed anything. We are in the middle of tying knots inside this guy. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit. And you want to tie 2 knots, and I can't remember how many I tied, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more, just in case I only did 1. But I really probably need to do 3, like I did on the other side. I'm just going to feed this through. All right, sorry about that. Got a little interrupted. Anyway, I was going to take it apart and redo it, but I can't. Oh, hopefully this is going to turn out okay. Okay. Okay, I've got it in there. I shouldn't have pulled. I tried to pull it out and it's just going to work. Okay, I think it's going to work. Yeah, I got my grandkids over here, so I kind of got interrupted in the middle of tying a knot. I think it's going to be okay. All right, just clip that off. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And this is what you have. So the next thing you need is, actually I've got 2 jump rings. I'm not for sure I need them both. I do need 1 for sure. I want to make sure it's closed. And I'm going to put it on one side of this. Close it up like that. And then this side, I think I'm just going to hang it like this. I could use a jump ring, but I don't think I'm going to. And I'll explain why here in just a little bit when I show you what this is for. All right, and we are all done. And there it is, all finished. This is a really easy and fun way to make necklaces, bracelets, and this, since it's about 10 inches, I just measured it, this wound up being exactly 10 inches, it would make a great anklet. But not only that, it makes a great necklace for this gal. So I've been teaching myself to sew, and I am experimenting on my dolls. I made these little pants and this top, and now this little necklace for her to wear. So if you're a doll collector or you have children that like to play with their dolls, you can make them some doll jewelry, because the techniques I use to make you and me jewelry are the same ones that I use to make doll jewelry. So the reason I didn't use an extra jump ring on the lobster claw side is because since a doll's going to be wearing this, you don't really need that much movement. You could do it either way if a person's going to wear it. Typically, I do like to put an extra jump ring there because it does kind of make it more fluid in that area. Thanks for joining me. And let me know, have you ever tried this technique before? Y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.